Hi, sixth grade. I'm sorry that I can't be there again. Believe me, I'd rather be with you than experiencing what I am right now. We're gonna finish up the jumping tree today. So I'm gonna do a mix of, having this video for you to watch and for you to have discussions with my substitute teacher, just about what evidence we find in terms of Renee, his cousin Jorge, and kind of the feelings that Renee has throughout the story. And just to give you a little recap for this week's episode, Renee's about to start junior high, feeling kind of nervous, feels like he hasn't done much to impress the older kids, and Jorge's coming to visit from Mexico. So Jorge comes up, and another friend comes over, and they don't have a full tree house going on at his uncle's house, but they do have like some wooden slats nailed into the side of the tree that can be sat on. Well, then what does the friend, Ricky, decide to do? Well, we should have a jumping contest because why not? Why not endanger ourselves physically? So we started the story on page 3. Whoopsies, there it is. And then on page 4 is kind of where they got into Ricky's idea, and we started to see a little bit of how Renee felt about that. So now we're ready to get on to page 5. And as I'm reading this part, I want you to circle or highlight parts of the story that really help you visualize the setting. So as I'm reading this, if you hear something you're like, oh, I can actually see what they're talking about, I want you to go ahead and circle it, underline it, whatever way that you mark it up, okay? Ricky explained the rules as we stood under the mammoth mesquite. Okay, we're going to climb the tree and start from there. He pointed to the slat where I normally sat, then jumped down to that branch there and grab hold. His finger slid across the sky from the plank to a branch that stretched out below it. Easy enough. Then whoever can do the best trick is the winner and king of the world. What do you mean by trick? Asked Jorge. You know, flips, swinging back and forth, and letting go, seeing who can land the fanciest. And all I'm thinking is, okay, jump, grab, let go, and pray I land standing. No fancy smancy stuff for me, just do the thing. But Jorge was the oldest of us and the strongest. Ricky was the gymnast, and I was the youngest and the smallest, the one who had something to prove to these guys. I had to go through with this deal. I had to prove that I could belong to this group, could be a man. Orale, pues, said Jorge, let's climb up. And so we did, hand over hand, foot after foot, until we all reached the top and we sidled to the edge of the jumping place. When I saw how far the branch was from the spot, then how far the ground was from that branch, I decided to do the minimum, a jump and a release. After all, I was only in the summer after my 5th grade year. What could they expect? This is a good place to pause the video and have a discussion as a class on what you found on these pages that really help you visualize the setting that the story is happening in. Okay? Also, as a class with the teacher, I want you to talk about the definitions of mammoth and sidled. Okay, now we're ready for the next page. Jorge went first. Ricky and I stood back watching. My Mexican jumping bean heart was making it hard to concentrate on the task at hand. Even at this age, I knew that people could learn a lot from their body's reactions to a situation. Hand over open fire burns, remove hand immediately. Hunger pains, eat. Heart grasping at sides of throat, fighting to get out alongside the morning's breakfast, don't jump. But I am Mexican. I could not strike that, would not back down. I would do the deed. It was a question of manhood. Macho o mujerina, pues macho, which basically means, am I going to be manly or a coward? I choose to be manly. Jorge screamed, "Aye!" and jumped. He swung like a trapeze artist at the Circus Vargas. I whistled. Then I was one step closer to having to jump. Ricky stepped up. "We'll see you down there, Primo," he said. "Yeah, down there." I forced a smile. He jumped, and it was like he and the branch were one. The rough bark of the mesquite melted into a smooth bar in his hands. This is another time I want you to pause the video, and I want you in the margin to the side. Tell me the line from this section that really showed you how he's feeling about this jump, how Jorge is feeling. I want you to underline it and make a little note to the side about how that line to you proves that feeling. So if he's feeling excited, find a line that proves that. If he's feeling nervous, find a line that proves that. Okay? That's what I want you to do at this part. Next step, we have question 4. Reread lines 48 through 67. Why does the narrator decide to go through with the jump? Make an inference about the narrator based on his reasoning. Support your answer with explicit textual evidence. So, really, what it comes down to is, especially on this page, which part of the story showed you, okay, this is why he's going to jump? He's letting me know why he's going to jump. Here it is. And then when it says make an inference, once you find that line that shows why he's going to jump, what do you think that means about him as a person? That's kind of what I want you to think about here and answer with question 4 and then discuss as a class. Okay, hopefully you have more ideas about what kind of person Jorge is. So, back to Ricky taking his jump. He swung forward, let go, twisted, caught the bar again, swung toward me, flipped, all the while holding on to the branch. Released, flipped in the air once and stuck the landing. A perfect 10, even from the Russian judge. I was next. Orale, jump! It sounded like an echo. They were so far away. I glanced down at them. A big mistake. My stomach was a better jumper than I because it was already flipping and turning. But I was at the edge of the board. I'd made a contract with myself, for my sake, signed in blood. I began to rock back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying for courage. The time had come. It was my destiny to fly, to live on the very edge of life, a life James Bond would be jealous of. So I dug my toes into my tennis shoes, took a deep breath, fought closing my eyes, stretched out my arms, and did it. I saw myself from below somehow. My body, like Superman's, flying over Metropolis. The branch growing bigger, closer, within reach. All I had to do was grab hold now. Just let the momentum carry me toward the branch. The bark, rough on my palms, would be my safe place. All I had to do was close my fingers around the branch, then swing and. But my chubby little soon to be sixth grade fingers failed me. I felt the branch slip from my fingers, and so, like Superman confronted by kryptonite, I fell. As the ground came closer, I tried to remember my PE coach's exact advice on how to fall. He had told his little bunch of munchkins to roll onto our backs, or to put out our arms and hands. I had only a split second to make up my mind. I stretched out my arms to break my fall. What broke was my left wrist. When I rolled over and looked at the sky, I knew I had failed. Or so I thought. When I returned from the doctor's that evening, arm encased in a cast, my cousins couldn't stop talking about it. Que padre, they said, caressing my cast. A cast ray, you know, said Jorge. That's the best. It's better than a scar. I wish I had one. How does it feel? It was my badge of courage, and it couldn't have come at a better time. I just knew that the guys at school would look at my cast and wonder how I had busted my arm. Had I fought a gang? Had I fallen from a motorbike? Or something else just as manly? The girls, too, would be impressed. It was just the break I needed. All right, folks. Last thing I want you to think about and make sure you actually cite some evidence from the story. Review your notes on Ray's thoughts and actions throughout the story. What words would you use to describe his character traits? For example, you might describe him as brave, anxious, or foolish. Cite text evidence from the story in your response. Remember, you can start with a hook if you want to bring the reader in, but you need to make a claim. What are you trying to claim? That Jorge is brave? Are you trying to claim that he's anxious or that he's foolish? And find evidence from the story to support that claim.